God, you a genius. Man, shout out Dave Chappelle, man. Dave Chappelle said the best, man. I don't like when people call people crazy. Turn me up just a little bit, just dismiss. Sometimes my baby think I'm crazy, but we gon' vibe it out in the way. Cause she knows that I ain't seven. We gon' grind it out to the day. But above twin seas, it be fam love.
This a different vibe for me.
I'm a fan, bro, for real, bro.
Don't give me cliches, but whether clean J's and the ill fit. But whether be honest and still live, to live real. There's a breath like I'm still here, and that God with me, why would I feel fear? We past that. Not a lab rat, I hopped off the wheel to really live. And what I feel is really real. Won't numb it down with silly pills, won't come around if it ain't real. Authentically speaking, so I don't seem to be preaching. I'm just reflecting the sun. Like I'm not better than one, I'm just competitive. So I can't settle here, take every L and break it down. Now what's the lesson here? It's great breeze on you like leaves on it. Make them believe, I got a team, we gotta eat, don't it? Respect that. Brought the fight here, now we all beating. They done cold cheating, that's just God finger.
Man, don't do that. Don't do that.
Sometimes my baby think I'm cray, but we gon' vibe it out in the way. Cause she know that I ain't settling. We gon' grind it out to the day. But in between scenes, it be fam love. Had to stand up, show 'em what his plan was. I'm on fan, bro. Sometimes my baby think I'm cray, but we gon' vibe it out in the way. Cause she know that I ain't settling. But we gon' grind it out to the day. But in between scenes, it be fam love. Had to stand up, show 'em what his plan was. I'm on fan, bro. I'm a standing individual.
Saying my siblings won't help, but like literally, my sister do what she can, but when something dealing with something like that, she don't have the heart to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I had to do that. And that's cool. I guess it all whatever. And it's like that we make the gospel about us. And it's like as I'm reading the gospel for myself, I'm like the gospel, it's not about us. Like we benefactors.
Yeah, we
and so I ain't gonna get into that, but basically that's where we at. And so we can go ahead and get started. But it's like I'm this is me, my first step, like I'm coming home, I'm on my Martin Luther vibe. I ain't trying to step on toes, but I know people who religious not gonna like this.
Yeah.
Because I found something out about God.
That's not.
I found something out about God in this place that nobody can take away. So
Yeah.
let's get it. Man, we had this is No Labels Podcast. I am not your host today. You know what I'm saying? She is the captain of this ship, Miss Audrey Aaron.
Hey, what's good, y'all?
And we got my man Dave Lowe in the building.
Yo.
And we got my man Darius Dorfer, Thinking Kingdom Media. Yo.
Salute.
Let him see your face.
Throttle. The No Labels family is full throttle today. Yes. And I love it.
All right, so we just gonna jump right in. And I'm gonna answer your question, David. You said so where I'm at now?
Yeah. What place are you in now?
And the crazy thing about it is I embrace the process. Like I'm not fully out of it. But it's like I am and I ain't. Like I know for a fact that I'm good. Like I'm good. God got me. Now, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, I still struggle with things. But it's like, so it's like this music, even like me telling you my testimony. I'm not telling you my testimony after, like I'm going live with it.
Yeah.
I'm letting you see.
Wow.
I'm letting you see what it
a
is.
reality
You know
show
what I'm saying?
version.
Yeah, like a reality, like a live testimony. Like, of course, even to get to this point, like I have to be out of, like, I'm not depressed, you know what I'm saying? I beat that battle. But every now and then, you can feel that cloud try to come out of nowhere. So I still got things to work out. But it's like, okay, let me tell everybody the story up until now. This story of hope, because like, especially, I think people who believe in God need this more than anybody. Because in this process, I'm going to be real. And every Christian I had that asked this question, I ain't going to say every Christian, I'm like constant condemnation. I ask myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point? While I'm in this dark place, what I'm doing is prayers. I'm really saying, God, I don't even know if you there. I'm in this ugly place. In this place, religion tells me that if you dare, that you are not of God. And in this place, God came and like, yo, you ready? And it was like, you ready? And I was like, at that point, when I came to the end of myself and I said, yo, I ain't got the strength to do this. Like where I'm from, my culture, when we get stressed, we roll up, we smoke. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's how we deal with culture. Now another culture, they might drink, they might do parts, but the element that I'm from, and I ain't saying I'm gangster now, but the element I'm from, when we get stressed, we smoke. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like you get to a point where it becomes a habit, So when you get depressed, it
Describing,
becomes
like without the details, the description of how it felt. Like I feel like I'm in a very similar place, and I'm wondering if you are in the same place, because I know sometimes God will like just kind of shift his people, you know, individually, but corporately at the same time. So it's just like, are we all in a similar space? And the reason I ask is because I even if David isn't, I am. So I'm like, you're not alone.
Wow.
Now your life is your life and mine is mine, but you're not alone in that feeling. Especially as believers, you know.
That's good to hear too.
Now for me, it's not like, well, it's God. Like I think I'm pretty just forever solid on God is still here, but what am I doing? Like you still recognize that God is there, but but I'm here, and He can come to me, but I can't. You gonna have to come to me because I can't come to you. I'm depressed.
And the crazy thing about that, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that you like can relate to that.
Yeah.
Because you be feeling. I felt like I was like I'm thinking. I ain't want to talk to my wife. Like, am I tripping, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like to keep it 100. Like I'm in this state. I'm like, bro. Like I'm beating myself up because I'm like, bro, I gotta stop smoking the weed. But I know this, but the weed got me tripping, boy. I'm crazy. Listen, all right. So I'm gonna keep it.
But
Look.
let me interject real quick, because honestly, it goes back to the conversation that we were having. It's very heavy. It's a season of depression.
Like, am I there? Like,
It's
am
like
I there?
it's deprogramming and reprogramming your thoughts, your beliefs, your identity.
I got broken.
Your ego is broken basically, and
Shattered.
you take on a identity of love and compassion towards other and humanity. And the crazy thing is, I asked the question of as far as spirituality earlier because I was throwing like little breadcrumbs out there, like I'm trying to see if anybody else is feeling the same. So 2020, a lot of folks felt this way, and going into 21 the same. They say it's a mass spiritual awakening of folks in the world, and we're all self-awareness really, which leads to self-actualization.
Yes.
Number patterns the same.
Number patterns, yes.
That's
That.
So okay, that's dope, but that's fine. Dang. Yeah, so
stop.
no, the whole Dark Knight thing kind of threw me off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hold on.
Research
Like,
it. No lie.
No, I believe
Because the
it.
Dark Knight, my mind goes to freaking.
No, cause I know. But it's like
But
I don't. Oh no, go ahead. No, go ahead. I think a lot of our generation, being that it's so media wise and so visual, a lot of us only know God through someone else, through a video, through a clip, through a post. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really urge God to open your book and read the Bible in this generation.
Yeah.
There got to be a real relationship there. So for most people, most of the stuff they know about God, I mean, they remember scriptures like I can do all things without God. You know what I'm saying? But they know that scripture, but they don't know what come before that or what come after. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of us, and I was in that place, so that's why, you know what I'm saying? And I've met people just by their conversation, how they speak on God. Now that I done read, it's like you haven't read it for yourself. And I started reading things like I started reading things, and this is why I'm doing the music, because I was like, I got to that point, like God was like, you ready? And I was like, it hit me. It wasn't no spooky thing, just a thought. I was like, I'm teeter-tot insanity right now, and yet I know without a shot, like I know God, like I'm asking God, like I'm praying, like this is my prayer, like God, how I even know about you right now? Like how I got full, matter of fact, in this place, I'm growing in understanding about Him. How I know that when I'm breaking you, like I'm sinning, I'm doing this, I got whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about just like whatever. I'm talking about like the way I feel, the anger. Like I'm not even in. So how are you here? And then I started reading the Bible and I started catching out scriptures like, before the foundation of the world, I chose you. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, all right, so I'm like,
Yo, that's wild.
as humans,
right.
as humans, we so arrogant. And
We are. But it goes back to much like we are the object of God's affection. The Bible is about God and what He has already done and what He wants to do, and we are again benefactors. And so if you put yourself in that main character seat, I don't even say main character, that's not what I want. But if you put yourself in like, well, it's almost like we put ourselves in the God role in the Bible
Exactly.
because we have a responsibility for our lives, and we still have to go to work and pay bills, and we got to make stuff happen. And it's almost easy to get into that God space, and God had to go back and be like, hold on a second, I still run all this. So this isn't so much about you having to reach me. This is the fact that I'm already coming to wherever you are. And so if we think we have to reach God, then we're going to, at some point, it's inevitable that you're going to feel inadequate.
Right.
That's the part where you come to the end of yourself and God is like, you finished?
Yeah. You
It's
good
almost like
now?
if you see somebody struggle, it's like,
You tired now.
I'll wait.
You tired.
It was like, well, God is like, I'll wait.
And that
Your
wait.
children ain't so small no more. But she was like, one of the things that people get frustrated with, like adults, is that whole thing of, with children, is that you're trying to get your children to come up to you, and they cannot. They physically, they don't have the bandwidth, the physical height. They don't have the years on earth that you have. And so you have to go down to them because they cannot come up to you. And God, I think God sees us and he fathers us that way. He knows that we cannot come up to him. So he comes to us.
See, she going in now.
She had the preacher
You know what
voice
I'm saying?
going.
know,
I
I'm
saw a
a
lip
bad-
twitch
I'm a-
too. I saw a lip twitch. I was like, bro,
back
I know it's about to go in.
Back off. I'm not I mean, I'm not going
the
to
fight, like the funny thing about that is like I'm like, bro, that's when it hit me. Like the gospel, we it's not about us. We benefit from it.
Yes.
Like this how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this is like scripturally sound, but this how God like gave it to me. And it was like on some cocky job, like bro, like for all of eternity. You know what I'm saying? Like God, all the people that will be saved, whatever, it's gonna be evidence of His goodness throughout all of eternity. Like yo, you want to question my goodness? Look at these people. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything. It's like that's why like everything got to do with the gospel. Like we put so much on ourselves. Like we got to believe, and it's like nah. I mean, we do got to believe, but we don't got it in us to do it. Cause like the Bible said, like I'm reading, I'm like, no one even comes to me unless my Father draws them. So unless you get a nudge, you're not coming. Like it's not even on your radar. So however small it is, if you ever find yourself thinking about God, wanting to pray, listening, whatever, that's a nudge. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole gospel is about, yo, I'm gonna make you want me. You know what I'm saying? Then you gonna go, and then once you find me, I'm the one that's gonna help you believe. And then after you believe, I'm the one that's gonna give you the strength because you don't got this on your own. And then whatever great things you do in this world, you like. Because I don't think God can use it until you broken. Because like once you broken, you know it ain't me. And then whatever great thing you do, like God get the glory. So the whole picture is like God getting, like I'm getting the glory. I'm like this is about me. Mm-hmm. And we make it like, oh, we gotta believe, and we do, but we don't do it on our own strength. So it's like, you know what? And this ain't my quote. It was like everybody want to be David. It was like, but me, I was Jacob. By what I mean is, you know how Jacob wrestled with God. That's what most of us doing. I mean, you can see it on social media. And what I mean by wrestling is trying to, like, they really do got a call. And, like, that thing inside is really from God.
Yeah.
But we wrestling trying to do it in our own strength. But now we exhausted.
All right, Peter, watch your ears around me.
So we cutting ears. That's what I'm saying. That's what we do.
Undertone of the song, and I love it. And so one of my favorite Dave Chappelle interviews, I know it very well, the Inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton. So I know exactly the interview that you're referencing.
Like Dave Chappelle was a heavy influence, boy, for real.
He's a big influence on me too, just like as a writer, as a communicator, storyteller. But I remember very vividly that interview. What was it about that interview that resonated with you, and to the point that you made it, like you intro your song with this and you bring it back up again and you bring up another part, like it's the undercurrent, you know, and he's just basically talking about like how insulting it is to call somebody crazy because it is completely dismissive.
Huh.
Wow.
But you bring all that in, but
That's crazy. All right, so how do I explain this? See, when you hosting, you know what I'm saying?
But like, so what was it? I guess the question is, what about that conversation, that interview, resonated so much that's just like, hey, this is like the perfect thing to wrap this song in.
And all right, so it's the short version because it really was a process. Because I always been a Dave Chappelle fan, but like at that moment when I wasn't writing music, you know what I'm saying? Outside of me seeking God, like Dave said, I started following Dave Chappelle's career. You know what I'm saying? I went on YouTube and I was going back. Like I found myself looking up all kind of clips, and then I started seeing the genius in Dave Chappelle, like how he conveyed truth. You know what I'm saying? In such a smooth way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a genius to it. But it's like, I'm like, and it's like, I don't know Dave Chappelle faith or whatever, but I'm like, it's like,
Muslim.
yeah,
He's gonna talk about it very openly, but I study him too.
and it was like, when he was talking, I resonated. This gonna sound crazy, but I resonated to the God in him, because like how he was talking, like maybe God was using Dave Chappelle and just whatever, but it was like,
Yeah.
the way that he came, the genuineness, it caught my attention. Like yo, and then I found that interview, and it was like, ain't no weak people make it successful, and it's true. Like even though I said I found that I can't do it on my own, to stay on this road on purpose, for purpose, to stay on the road for your car, and the reason that you here for, you ain't no weak. Like you know what it takes to finish. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what it takes to finish this thing called, and none of us finished. But just to get to this point, I'm 31, and you know what it takes to say I'm gonna keep doing this. Like you done been through, like everybody in this room done been through some kind of hell to still be here, to still say God real, to still say ain't no weakness. Like
I want to ask you something about that, because and I have another question. This is a little sidebar. When you're talking about what it takes to finish, you know,
Yeah.
I just your heart and soul into a work, because I think our whole life is a bunch of beginnings and ends and starts and finishes and season changes.
Yeah.
And so when you come to a finish point of a really big thing,
yeah,
that moment, like, and I think I'm still kind of navigating it, because people, like, when I finish my book, people are like, well, what does it feel like? I'm saying I'm still the jury still. I don't know.
you chilling.
But like after about a month and some of that little hype, but then it was, the only way I can describe it, I've taken to calling it creative grief. Because like once the book, because I was used to coming home and writing every day and doing something and tweaking this and doing this, and that was my life, 5.5 years. And even when I would take little breaks, but I still had, and that process outlasted like apartment. I moved, it outlasted a relationship. My church closed, and I still had this book project. And then that's finished, and I come home to this house, and it's just like, I am very proud of myself. I'm very pleased with my. All of these are good, but I also cannot shake this sadness. I missed the process, and so
I never thought about that. That's fine.
I was curious when you just bring up like, okay, even what it takes to finish a thing.
Yeah.
And then part of me wonders, like, was I even delaying the finish because I had fallen so in love with the process?
That's true.
So I'm in a room with creatives. Is anybody else? Please tell me I'm not all alone.
No, you're not. I mean, I ain't never, honestly, like coming from that angle, like I gotta process that, because I ain't never thought about that. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's true.
It was a sadness, and I recognized it. Like, this is a sadness,
And you can't shake it.
and but it didn't take anything away from how proud I was and how happy I was that it was. But this all, it's like okay, I'm proud of this. This is a huge accomplishment. I'm so glad people are responding well. All of this, I'm pleased. I wouldn't change any of that. But just as real as those feelings are, this sadness is like, Audrey, you're gonna have to pay attention to me, because I'm a very real thing.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of figure out. And creative grief is the best I could do.
Yeah,
with it.
I think that's a good name to give it.
That's a
And
dope name.
It is, because we all experience it to some degree. Like, you just finished this project, and it's dope, everybody, and you get this moment, like this period of time where everybody is on it, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't really build the community around what it was that you were doing, because you were just experiencing it yourself. And then at the end of the day, you get that grief, and then you realize, I need to create more, I want to create more. But this time, I want to integrate, right? And I want to partner, and I want to build a community around it.
But even going back, because you said the way you listened to describe it, it made me go back to my own grief of losing my daughter. And even just anybody who's had a major grief, the way you describe the cadence of it, like that first 2-3 weeks, the world will grieve with you.
Right.
And then the cruel truth is life goes on.
Life goes on.
And
we
And
need
it's like
more.
the cruelest truth I've ever, like, how does life go on and hers did, and then everybody's not.
Yeah,
And it's just
right.
like, but
It's a
this
crazy
is
place.
still, and like people will grieve with you and celebrate you, but all of that has a timer on it, and then you're still left with living.
Yep.
Like, I got my little prepared questions, and I'm also listening to you, and just kind of that space where you said you couldn't write,
Yeah.
and then okay, now it's back. I'm listening just from a writer's perspective, and then also someone who has done some behind the scenes, with you with music and some different stuff. There is an obvious elevation that has happened with your sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
There's an obvious elevation that has happened with your writing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love
I
that.
am
Appreciate that.
impressed.
Appreciate
Not, and I hope it doesn't sound insulting, but I was just like,
No.
okay, work. But it's almost like, okay, you're settling into a sound, and maybe that was a spiritual piece of it. Maybe why you couldn't write. God was like, man, you can't write anymore on that level.
Yeah.
But something happened, and you're on a different level in your everything about this sound. I think it's still true to who you are, but it's another level. It's elevated. I'm going back and catching bars to make sure I don't miss a single word, because they all hitting and they're clever and they work well together, and the way that you play with your voice, and it's a lot in the production of it.
Yeah.
That is such good quality that I'm like, this could live, and it's relevant to the sounds that people are gravitating to without being like copycat.
Yeah. I
Like you
appreciate
in a
it.
really, really good
I know you
space
ain't
with
lying.
this.
She don't be lying. You know what I'm saying?
See, this is the pregame conversation
Listen, man.
about how I just am in love with the truth.
I appreciate
But
that.
it really, really is. And so then another question is, what's influencing your music right now? Outside of that, I'm not going to say outside, because you could absolutely, I do think that spiritual, whatever was locking you up,
Yeah.
God knew what that was, and there was an elevation happening. And I was going to say this earlier, I forgot what we were talking about, but I have learned that when you are on a level, like, you got to grow into it. Everything you grow, and then once you master that, it's like being promoted at work.
Yeah.
And or same thing being spiritually promoted. What happens is, let's say you're on this level and you're trying to get to this level, and you max out here. At this point, everybody coming to you on this level, you are the go-to, and then you get elevated, but now you're at the bottom of a higher level.
A new level.
So
That's crazy.
and so you feel like crap again.
It's that
And
creative grief.
yeah,
Creative
but
grief.
you're still
Like
like
that.
phased out. So all of this below you is still success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the human experience is like, oh, I don't know nothing. I'm the rookie again.
That's
But
crazy.
you're on a higher level, so it's still an elevation, but it feels like a demotion, or it feels
Yeah.
like a grief, or it feels almost like a punishment. Like, what did I do so wrong to get here? But it may be what you did so right.
That's dope. Creative.
Drop
That's
that
gonna be the name of the episode.
Creative grief. Listen,
That's fire.
what helped me with it was I realized that it's easy for me to think, and then it's easy for me to speak, but then there's so much labor in actually writing, and you gotta, and it's, you know what I mean, like, you gotta put it, you gotta apply it,
Yes.
and that's the part that we get lazy about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife was telling me, like, you want to do this, you want to do that, but that's lazy, right? Like, sometimes you got to have somebody say that's lazy, because you're
Yeah.
at the bottom. You're like, oh, I got demoted. I'm at the bottom of my next level, and now I want to take shortcuts, to get to just feel like I haven't lost a step, or I
But
haven't stepped
even
back.
from that, so the writing on this, and from a writer's perspective, there is that part of writing that, to me, easy reading is hard writing. And things that are hard to write, you probably just kind of scribbled out and didn't put much thought into it.
Yeah.
But the easier it is to read and resonate and understand, I feel like more care went into the craft, and that's what I'm getting from your bars on like Peculiar. No photos too. I got a sneak peek of no photos, but that's what I'm getting. I feel like because more craft and more care went into the craft of writing the bars, they resonate more quickly. They're easier to understand. And I think like you got a lot of little hooks that people, and it's like everybody's favorite part gonna be different because every part is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Appreciate
it's such an elevation that has happened. And so it goes back to my question, like, what's influencing? Because like,
I guess.
go ahead, because I have a follow-up question.
She
That's
good.
gonna get into the
See her,
peculiar
David?
part.
You
Yeah.
see her? She turned up.
What
I
got
am.
you here?
But,
What got you here?
I mean,
Well, not quite, but
a part of me it's because I taste. I know what freedom is. You know what I'm saying? Not being cliche like, and I'm like, this is a freedom that a lot of believers don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of I tasted freedom and I got fed up, and it's like that's why like even on that mental health episode, even with your relationship with God, like you can't because I got people drain me, and what I mean by people is we all fickle in certain way, like we all, you know what I'm saying? So I got drained by people, you know what I'm saying? And the enemy was using that, you know what I'm saying? Like I started like I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? I would see brothers, you know what I'm saying, who I would help. You know what I'm saying? It's like and then they would turn and be obviously in competition with me. And I'm like, we building what are we doing? And that just kept happening over and over and over again. And I go on Facebook and everybody done seen it. The support post, we was talking about support. And I'm like, bro, stop capping. Like people be like, we need to support each other. You know what I'm saying? Then they turn around and don't support. I'm like, just change it. If you're gonna post that, be real. Tell the people you want them to support you. You don't want to be a part of the support. And I see a lot of that. Like, yo, let's support. But really what you're saying is support me. You know what I'm saying? Like, feed my ego. You know what I'm saying? So I can, but you don't want to, and it's a lot of that. I even did it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's like, it was a fed up. It was like, and I got to tell people, and I got to address this, what I've seen personally, like, yo, it's hope. You know what I'm saying? Stop living in this place of desperation and like embrace it what it is. You can't do it by yourself. Let go. You know what I'm saying?
I think we all get to a point in the faith where it's like, because you was talking about earlier, where it gets real, right? And then like even I heard it even with Pen Strokes, like just the way he was. It was a different Willie G. Like, you know, like it wasn't.
It was evolving.
It was
I feel like it was evolving with Pen Strokes, and
right.
I feel like it's starting to settle with this. You in a good state.
Yeah, bro. Artistically, I mean, just from what I've heard, I only heard Peculiar, but I'm like, and this is a story that's coming, and I want to hear what it is.
And every part, like you, the album, the cover, your door, that picture from behind, all that's so artistic.
Yeah, I did the cover though.
Like all of that, but just even the choice to have her turn that, like all of that feeds into the artistry of the song. And one thing I try to coach people on is, like, you can have a hot song, but if you put it in a weak package, you know what I'm saying? Or if you can have a beautifully wrapped empty box, you know? So every part matters. Every part matters. So I wanted to ask this, even with the song Peculiar. So even when it talks about, when I was asking about the influences, I know as far as the relevance of the sound, I could easily hear a Migo-esque, Drake-esque kind of influence. And the reason I bring that up is because I've always loved hip-hop. And there was this ongoing, like, debate with me and my dad growing up, because he wouldn't let me listen to a lot of stuff. Yeah. But there was, I'm about to date myself, but there was a group called like DC Talk and stuff like that we would listen to, you know. But his whole thing was like, it was a whole sound, and it was a whole big argument. I was like 8 years old at the time, but I was always argumentative. But I was like, well, is the gospel a sound or is it a message?
Yeah.
And so my dad was like, if it wasn't Mahalia Jackson or, you know, Kirk Franklin barely got in. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, scripture says, well, faith comes by hearing, right? And so as I process that question, I think my faith came by sound.
Okay. Me
either hearing the word preached or hearing a particular sound in an environment, in an atmosphere that was created by people that love me.
Let me, I ain't trying to cut you off.
Nah, go ahead.
Let me answer your question real quick, because it just came back to me, because you were like, what's inspired? I ain't want to, it was like, I was in that place and I was like, I'm in it. Like, this is before everything started coming up. I'm in it. I'm like, and I had a thought. I'm like, you know what? This is a beautiful picture you painting, God. That's what I told God. This is a beautiful picture you painting. I have to tell this picture, and it's a picture of hope. It's like I'm not even out, and like I'm already planning. Like this is like people need to see this, and it's like just to get real biblical. It was like before I formed you in your mother's womb. That again. Now it's like. While I was being, you know what I'm saying, while I was in my dark place, I started reading the Bible slower. So it's like, and use the common sense that we know we can't think like God, but he did. I mean, a good teacher speaks to the same language as the one, the same way Jesus spoke about farming, they were farmers. So,
absolutely.
So it's like, think about it in your just common sense. Okay, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But it's like, all right, before I formed your mother womb, and then we all Jesus. we all supposed to look to Jesus as our example.
Right.
So it was like, I'm like, God, how am I still standing? How am I still doing podcasts, shows? Like, I don't feel able. Like, I'm mentally worn out. Yet I've seen all of you podcasts, and it's like God wouldn't even let me share it with people. He was like, this ain't for them.
Yeah.
Now I'm sharing it, but it's like I'm looking like I'm motivated, but literally all of that.
And the job.
And the job, the wife,
right, the job,
kids.
the wife, and then you were creative, and then they don't understand, right? Like,
Can't talk, nah, they
then
don't.
they don't understand, they don't get it. Like, why you up at 2:00 in the morning? Why you spacing out? Why you zoning out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All
Like,
that.
all that. Yeah.
It's like I'm going through it to the point where, like, I finally got to a point where I'm doing all this, and I'm like, I got to a point where it's like it's almost autopilot. Like, there's no way humanly possible I should be like, I'm looking at God carrying me, literally.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my feet not even on the ground. Like, bro, I'm slinging out. He got me in both legs. You know what I'm
The
saying?
whole footprints thing that was real
Yeah.
popular. Remember the footprints?
And it's like,
the footprints.
it's
That was
like
big in the 90s.
just the realness. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not promoting dysfunction. You need stability, but it's like, let's cut all the religious out. Let's get back to it. Because the whole point of church, the whole point of all this gospel that's done become this multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
It's like the whole point of it is for somebody. You got the middleman, the preacher, us, the music, the middleman. Hey, this is my God. Come meet him. Now once you meet him, then it's you and him for the rest.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not just like, I got a church. I love my church. I'm a member. I'm not, and that's needed. You know what I'm saying? But what's more needed is for people to know God, and not even know God, but to know God for themselves. Because the things I've been through,
Thanks.
listen,
Yes.
the thing God walked, like literally walked me in it. You know what I'm saying? And God ain't never leaving. All the dirtiness, all the nasty, He right there. Come on, I got you.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what people need to know. Like it's hope, real, like and stop fronting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For people, it's like be you, and,
Yeah.
and flaws and all.
And you know, when you in that space, it's like when you know, like when you was in school, when you got suspended from school,
Yeah.
and they already like, you know, you ain't go home yet. You know,
Yeah,
like
you
it's
circling
like you still
the
at
block.
school.
You
You still
circling
at
the block.
school. You know, you ain't get home yet.
I never got
Oh,
suspended.
see. Or like when you got ISS, how about ISS?
never got
Oh my
No, she was a
God.
teacher pet. She bring
I
apples.
was actually voted teacher.
She
Nah.
bring apples and stuff.
No, I ain't bring apples. That's A's.
It
Just
be like
A's,
that
though.
though. It's
Oh, the
it's
A's.
a feeling like that cloud come
Yeah.
over, and it's something that you experience in life when you get older too. And so when you was talking about that was something I'm like, because that's a big part of the reason why I started doing Thinking Kingdom Media and creating just a space for artists and business owners to come and just emote and talk about where they at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And where they been, where they at, where they going, and just know that people want to hear that and want to experience that. You know
I
what I'm saying?
think from a artistic, like I want to make art that other people gonna consume and enjoy. I think from an artistic perspective, we gotta think about how much it's grown just from the like quickly. I think the difference is the freedom that you keep talking about.
Yeah.
Because, and the question I have is, I'll ask the question first and I'll kind of qualify it. But what is it like being peculiar in this music space? Because when I hear your music, I'm like, this could live in the same playlist with Drake, Migos, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you still feel torn between a church sound and being true to this, like, this is the type of bars this sound needs. This is what, like, if this is your sound, you're gonna have to come with it.
Yeah.
And you might have to let go of some people that ain't gonna like it, but you're not making Hezekiah Walker is not being featured on this. You know what I'm saying? It's I really think listening to you talk that the difference is like you free to say whatever you want to say, and you know who your God is.
Yeah.
And in your freedom, the God is still gonna be in it, but He's not gonna be in it the same way you put Him in a praise and worship song.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be in it the same way you put it in a choir song. This is the genre that He has like assigned you to.
Yeah.
So you can't come with that. Even when we talked before, like I was like I went into the Royal AF song. I said if the bars cannot hold up in a battle rap, they too weak.
That's facts. I mean,
And if you gotta feel like you in the ring with the devil, go for it.
Go for
And
it.
bring that heat. But you can't play patty cake and do a hip hop sound. I don't care if it's faith based or not. we
You
talk
can't
about
fight-
how,
I know
and I
you-
don't get how we talk about spiritual warfare all day, but then want to be like patty cake with it. Like, no, come with some battle rap energy, faith-based artists. I get really
No, you
passionate.
got- no,
super
no.
lit.
I'm
Yeah,
so
right.
passionate about it. That's why I so love this.
Yeah.
I'm like, Willie, stay free.
Stay
Stay free.
Get free, stay
Because
free.
that's the, I think that was the missing piece.
Yeah.
You know, as you were like evolving the sound and getting, I'm like, he's getting there, but here you are, okay, you there, now let's settle in. It's settling, is good.
Yeah.
But I think the freedom is the difference. Like, I'm like, you weren't writing like this. Like, and then I think there's space for the gift of writing. So, like, I know sometimes when I'm writing, because I've done it for so long, where this is skill and this is gift.
Yeah.
And this is like a download that I could not have prepared for this. Like, I think all of that is coming through the songs.
Yeah.
I think it's like, okay, I'm taking the time to practice and get good at the craft of writing. This is skill. I'm gifted to deliver, and it's even your flow is switched up and like, because you know I want to talk to you about that
Yeah.
stuff and just
Yeah, I already know.
like
I
the
already know.
instrument that is your voice can do a lot more than what you're doing, and it's coming through.
Yeah.
And it's not too much. And then you're gonna get like the Holy Spirit divine downloads. I just think you're in a great space. I don't want to preach
And
it.
people,
Y'all let me host it. This is where we going.
And people
Nah,
gonna
we
be
do. I like
legalistic, you know, and try to say, like, I think I saw somebody on Rapzilla that was like, you know, somebody cursing on the crate, you know, sound like the world or whatever. Maybe they
The world curses.
right, and it's
So
like,
do church people. Have you heard them?
so what?
And it's like,
Where we at?
that's exactly it. Like, bro, stop. Like, bro,
Let's
like,
not do that. That's
this
what I'm
is-
saying. Let's
like,
not
let's-
fake.
This is why this is like charge you gave me. So I'm and plus I'm paying for extra hours. We got to wind it down in a minute.
Gotcha.
But
We're gonna get David back up here.
yeah. He is over there chilling.
I got a probably like not an icebreaker, but an ending question we can end with.
Okay, but bet. I was going off theirs, but what you were saying
Yeah.
about Lecrae and all that, and it's like, yeah, and it's like I don't know everything, and like I'm in it now. You know what I'm saying? So it's always room for correction. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's always that you doing that wrong, but the whole heart of it was like, listen, like you struggling with I'm not saying tell everybody your business, but don't let's stop playing this role. Like this is a real life person. Like I know God for real. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
It's like-
I
and
need
it's like-
that. Like the I'm giving you I'm not telling you the testimony after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm in it.
You know what I'm saying?
Reality
Like,
show
that-
testimony.
I need that because I be scared to do that, right? Like I don't really want to expose where I'm really at, right? Because that's like I might need therapeutic work for that,
Yeah.
right? Like I may not need to talk through that publicly right now,
Right.
right? That may be a fight that I need to keep personal.
I'm
you know?
gonna end on this, and then I'm gonna let Audrey do a last
And I need
question.
David back in.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
David, you gotta finish it out, man. Come on, man. They are a love offering, like those who end up with Jesus, Jesus people, those who the Father drew, like there was a love offering, and God said nobody is greater than the Father. First Jesus said, all those who come to me, no one will snatch them out of my hand. So he made a statement. He said, whoever comes to me, no one is gonna, no one snatching them out of my hand. Then he doubled down and said, my Father, who is greater than everybody, gave them to me, and no one is snatching them out of their hand. So it's like, I'm like, and that's when I got kind of irritated. I'm like, look, why nobody we down here like, bruh, we don't know how, but the whole point that you even, you know what I'm saying, and like somebody might be hearing this and this might be they start, but the whole point that you even believe in God was first of all not by yourself,
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So and then they go back like I'm throwing out scripts because I've been reading the Bible for like 6 months, you know what I'm saying, but it's like it was like he who started like all these
The big
all,
things.
who
Began it.
who
What's
he who
funny?
began
My
it.
pastor said something I had never heard before. He was like, "It's really hard to go to hell."
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, it's really hard. It's like, but all the the predestination and the forgiveness, like, it's so hard. He's like, you gotta make a conscious decision and a rejection. Like, he's like people think murder do it. They think all this stuff. He's like, it's so hard to go to hell. When you really understand the love of the Father.
Exactly. That's it.
It's just like,
And I'm in on that. And you do your last
Got you.
question. when you understand the love of the Father, like all these scriptures in the last couple months start making sense. I've been hit like perfect love cast out all fear.
Yeah.
And it was like it's a process to get to understand. Like you just can't understand God's love. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process. And like once you get solid in that, no matter what, even if you feel in the prayers, even if you have a death in the family, like ain't nothing too big to get over.
Right.
Ain't nothing like when I start getting my mind back and like I'm like, bro, I can do anything with a clear mind. Because when you struggling with depression, trying to pay bills, trying to love your wife, trying to stay inspired, acting like, but it's like it drains you. So it's like I think that's what's going on with a lot of people in this generation. It's just like a lot of us, like really, we at the end, like don't really want to do this God thing. And like I had to, like, what's the point? And it was like, bro, this the point, bro. It don't get no better. Like God been telling us the whole time. Religion tell us like, bro, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and it's fact. You know, but it's like you gonna do all that. You know what I'm saying? However God do it, you know what I'm saying? When it's all said and done with, you gonna be alright. You know what I'm saying? The whole fight is to believe. Once you believe, I got it from there. You know what I'm saying?
I had that revelation a while ago. Like,
but I'm done. I'm done with it.
Believing is difficult, but once you believe, you just kind of. It's an acceptance that comes.
Yeah, and just keeping it real. Like it's just like you were saying, it sound like this is what like I had a line in Peculiar, and it say something about if I feel it, then it's real. I'm not gonna take these silly pills.
Yeah.
And that was talking about addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but what I was saying is I was in denial that I was depressed. First I'm a man. First I'm ambition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm taking these pills trying to make me feel better, and it's like I got to a point where I had to realize, I'm addicted and depressed.
Wow.
Like this is facts. This is real. Like I stopped fronting, and then from there, and this is all while being me. You know what I'm saying? People see me on Facebook inspiring others, and it was like when it's all said and done with, but I can help people now because I know it's people that's going through mental. Like I'm the proof, and it's like everybody is a proof of something.
Yeah.
It was like it's almost crazy because going back to that one before I formed you, I knew you. Yeah. So it's like what we was talking, like what was me and God talking about before I got here? And it was like, what if you agree? Now this is just me. Don't go. It ain't in the Bible. This is just me. But it's like, what if you had a conversation? What if you agreed to go through what you went through? You know what I'm saying? Because it's painful. As painful as it is, like no one, like, ain't no help. Like, don't nobody know how to fix something. Somebody got to go through it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, no.
Somebody got to go through certain pain. Somebody got to. And I'm not saying that's a kid, but that's just a thought that they kept dealing with.
I have another thought I'll share with you on that.
And it was like, how do you, like, there's no healing. Like, how can somebody speak to the rape if they never got raped? Now I hate it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like that God ordained, but it's like I'm not even about to try to explain God, but whatever.
I'll get into that after we get off the air.
But it's like, how can someone teach without pain? It's like it's like, and then you go, then all kind of scriptures come to your mind. It was like, what God meant for evil. It was like the whole time devil trying to bend you. He trying to bend you. Then you come out.
Really been with the Lord.
and you just talked about predestination. Audrey just talked about that as well.
So, she petty, man. You know what I'm saying?
I have my thoughts. I have my thoughts on that too, honestly, and I will share that off air as well.
So Audrey, go ahead and.
So I just says a lighter question.
This the cutoff question for us.
And I'm gonna ask, and I wish we had another mic for Darius. I want David here, but also because Darius is an artist.
Yeah.
So my question is, not even just with I'm not sure if you listened to the most recent Kanye album, but even like with the Jesus is Lord, Jesus is King album, do you think that what he is doing, as far as the integrating the faith, do you think it helps or hurts faith-based artists as far as in the hip hop space?
I mean,
I feel like I could argue either side.
I feel like people gonna hate regardless. It's just like I think Kanye is a.
And forget the people whatever, but like from an artistic trying to break into or trying to get respect as an artist, do you think that he helps faith-based artists? Because I'm gonna leave it at that. Do you think he helps or hurts faith-based artists that are trying to really break it? Because like the Creator, only one really just out there.
Say real quick, I think he helps and he forces us to create more on a different level. Like do things like this, like podcasts, and because people the struggle is people don't know whether what he's doing is real or not.
Yes.
So that's the only point of contention, whether you left or right on that question.
Gotcha.
You know.
I think, just to answer your question, I think it is helpful for the same reason. Because I think it allows, even me doing this, or even you, anyone telling a story and being real with it. Like, people get to say, oh, this all right. You know what I'm saying?
And then even on some level, like, is it like, he might be your gateway because he's going to present, like, I think because he's a conflicted man, I think he's kind of presenting a conflicted gospel a little bit.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like, but the people that listen, he got a bigger fan base than the gospel community.
Yeah.
A lot of, especially for hip hop.
Hey, well,
so then you introducing these God concepts, and it's just like we need y'all to come quickly with some real explanation.
Yeah, it's convicting though, like, cause we should be doing way more work. Is what I get from that. It's like, if he's doing that and he's still telling me Jesus is Lord, and I know Yahweh is King, and Yeshua is King, right? And I need.
You see what I'm saying?
I want to do more work now. I just want to work now.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? That's,
so we gonna
That causes more freedom, right?
So from a non-artist standpoint, what do you think? Do you think Kanye helps the faith-based hip-hop artists, or hurts, or just puts a greater responsibility?
I think he puts a greater responsibility.
And I shout out to Darius for that perspective.
I do understand that him having this platform and being accepted by the faith community gives gospel artists a little bit more freedom to, be themselves.
A friend of mine, there's an artist, worship leader, he called it the Jesus is King. He called it a New Converts album.
Wow.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it
with Kanye being the new convert.
I'm gonna keep it real. Like,
all that new convert gospel, yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm about to
because it was a lot of milk.
I gotta pay the bill.
Milk.
But I gotta cut it off. I gotta pay the bill. But I'm gonna end on this. You know who I think bringing the kingdom better than anybody? In the illest way, I think he the blueprint on how to expand.
Kirk?
Toby.
Oh, Toby, yeah.
Oh.
Kirk is established. Toby is
I listen to
front runner on the new.
Like people, like when you like if you know God and listen to you cannot not hear God in his verse. Yes. But he doing it in a way like, and I'm not saying like he doing it his way. But anyways,
all right.
That was fun. You gotta end it. You gotta end it.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I am hosting this very special episode of No Labels Podcast. I am Audrey Aaron. This is David Lewis, and our featured guest, and also the main host, Willie G. New music is already starting to trickle in. Do we have a date or projection or an idea of when the full project is coming? Because we got Crazy Summer. It's already available. Crazy Summer on all streaming platforms.
All streaming.
Because I gotta find it. Because I've been on Tidal just streaming a whole bunch of streams of Peculiar for days. It's great. So check those out. No Photos is coming soon.
No Photos coming. I'm about to start.
Shout out to our special guest, Thinking Kingdom.
Salute.
Yes.
Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Charles behind the camera. And yo, this is No Labels Podcast. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We out.
Salute.
I need you to be right on the streets. I need you to talk like them, look like them, and be like cuss a little bit. Yeah. Because they're not gonna. If you're gonna reach those people, you got. That's what I told Mom. I said, Mom, I don't have no problem with cursing, and I don't curse around you because I understand that you do. Yeah. I see it as an extension of language. Yeah. And some people, this is like their primary language. I know some kids that can cuss before they can talk.
That's pretty sad.
It is, but it's also true.
It's facts though. It is facts.
And so just the idea, when he gave me that whole idea of necessary sins, he's like, no, it's very much a sin to me, and I need y'all to go through it. Yeah. That is a very mature lesson. Everybody can't handle that.
No, everybody can't. Yeah, that's a fact. I understand wholeheartedly what you're talking about. Because it was like, in this, that was part of the
then when we get saved and try to hide our flaws. You remember the first time we did the True Motives joint, I was like, no, God needs your flaws. That's my way into these people. the buddy saw you drinking a beer. Yeah. He didn't care about how much you love your wife and how much you love God until he saw you drinking beer. Oh, maybe I can talk. Oh, you drink too. So, okay.
But you know what though?
But it's necessary, and I use sin loosely. Some of them are straight out sins, and some of them like these church manufactured sins ain't all legit.
When Kanye dropped, right, I said, look, all of the hip hop people are gonna reject him, and all the Christian people are not gonna respect him. So the gospel is for Kanye right now, right? And I said, if you any representation of Christ, if that ain't Jesus, like. He being rejected by the world and rejected by his own people. This is Christ. If it's not Christ, what is it?
But you know what?
I don't even care what it sounds like. Y'all telling me it sounds crazy or what? I don't even care.
It's still an extension of expression. So it didn't matter what anybody else thinks.
And my
about it.
brother need me right now. Yeah, he
Right.
on milk
Still
right
right.
now. I don't care. He need me supporting me right. I will comment on Kanye joint right now.
Right.
I usually wouldn't when he cursing us out, but today,
I'm on it. I'm with it.
today,
And you know what?
you know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at,
You gotta
man.
be, no, that's facts. Because I mean, it got to that was one of my biggest. That was one of my biggest fights. It's like because I kept asking God, yo, what am I supposed to do? Like how I supposed to do? Like you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling bad about what I'm going through, and I kept getting the same thing. Use it.
Use
You
it.
know what I'm saying?
You got
I'm
to.
stuck. Use it.
Use it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people gonna see. Yo, this
He might have
possible.
had a speech impediment. I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't think that's what he was saying when he was like, I can't speak to these people. I'm slow of speech. He's saying, I don't know how to speak like church people. I was raised in Egypt. because
culture.
because every time Moses spoke to Pharaoh, there was no record of a speech, you know what I'm saying, of a speech, like a physical speech issue like we like to preach in church.
Right.
It's like, no, Aaron was necessary. So when Moses goes back to talk to the Hebrews, Aaron's like, hold on, they're not
Be a
gonna receive
conduit.
you. Let me
Be a
translate
bridge,
for you.
yeah.
But also, Aaron can't just roll up on Pharaoh. Like, I know Egypt. You know, the whole point of my book is like, don't like the truth about Egypt. And so I think that Moses, that's what again necessary saying, like, okay, you got Hebrew lineage, so that
I made
locks
a
you.
Facebook post, and I was like, and this one, and nobody really want to hear this, but it was like, it's a powerful miracle for you to be going through something. God just come swoop you up, fly you away, magical ending. That's powerful. That's what we want. But it was like, it's just as powerful.
You got to go
The
through.
Hebrew boys, when you in the fire and he dance, it's like so people get to see when you going through this and you dancing. It's
Yep.
like both ways. Yeah, that's my daughter, man.
Backpack. But then when I tell people all the time, I was like, that whole half of the stuff you go through is just to prove that God's word is true. Because if you say, okay, God can turn my mourning into dancing, how the hell would you know if you never mourned and
Right.
danced after?
Mm-hmm.
If you dance before mourning, that scripture is just, it's a difference between believing and knowing.
Right.
And so when Paul says, like, now I know that all things work together, it's not now that I
Give me the
believe.
tickets so I can pay this, like how you want to do it?
Like the difference between serenity and peace.
Crazy summer.
Like we say peace and think serenity like it's a quiet.
I got some people to feed. What y'all doing
When
over
it's
there?
hectic,
Something on
when
that
it's
sound loud
elbow,
at.
you can say,
Found out when my crown at. A black king make a progress. We doing numbers this summer. It's gonna be one to remember. We going crazy. We had to deal with a lot and now, but I always remember. I got some people to feed. What y'all doing over there? Something on that sound loud at. Found out when my crown at. A black king make a progress. We doing numbers this summer. It's gonna be one to remember. We going crazy. We had to deal with a lot and now, but I always remember. I got some people to feed. What y'all doing over there? Something on that sound loud at. Found out when my crown at. A black king make a progress. We doing numbers this summer. It's gonna be one to remember. Crazy summer. Crazy. We had to deal with a lot and now, but I always remember. I got too attached to my issue that was doing bad for my mental. I separate and I meditate and start celebrating who get you. I'm heavyweight in here, Kimpo. I'm celebrating my schedule. I try to be who they said to be, but that's stepping low for my petty break. So I'm elevating, that's steady praying. That's talk to God like every day. Just stack chips, no ratty here, no campaign, no cap here. Just true speaking, just parlaying, just lean back, let God take. Just parlaying in the car, singing with my phone off in the vibe crazy. I got some people to feed. What y'all doing over there? Something on that sound louder. Found out with my crown at. A black king make a progress. We doing numbers this summer. It's gonna be one to remember. We going crazy. We had to deal with a lot and not but always remember. I got some people to feed. What y'all doing over there? Something on that sound louder. Found out with my crown at. A black king making progress. We doing numbers this summer. It's gonna be one to remember. We going crazy.